The movie began sort of my writing partner, Eric Berger, who lives here but is not in Los Angeles at the moment. He's on a set. We found inspiration for the Christmas as a ritual, as a point of ritual where we can really think of our families and remember, we both, like many people in my generation, moved away from our homes, towns, into cities, and we sort of have a lot of our lifetime now to reflect on what we've left. So a lot of it comes from just romancing and thinking, oh wow, remember the way that an aunt or uncle would tell this joke, or it came from a lot of just of nostalgia, really. And I think one more thing to say would be that we realized in like this drunken and sort of beautiful night many years ago, 7 or 8 years ago now, that Christmas, it had an interesting opportunity for us, because one of the things that we do during Christmas time is we decorate our homes, and the decoration and all the detail was very quickly apparent to us, and we thought, whoa, we decorate these homes because we are acknowledging that life is worth celebrating, that this is worth celebrating. And then we realized that all these extraneous decorations are sort of analogous to these memories that we have that are like these little details that they live just to live and just to be appreciated. So that was kind of how we dove into it as Christmas, as opposed to any other kind of event that might gather a family.
Can you talk about, Tyler, the casting process of finding the family members? And then Matilda, I'd also love to hear about your experience of being in your feature debut.
Maybe the majority of the casting was through friends and family, and oddly enough, Matilda and I have a mutual friend, a producer that was on this project that we just went different ways. Was a man named Craig Buda, who had a assistant named Clara Barnstone, who is an AAP on this film and a friend of Matilda's. So a lot of the cast, whether it's Matilda or Francesco Scorsese or my best friend from growing up's great aunt, who's like 80 years old, who's very funny in the film, they come from just us asking the question of who would be interesting to be in this movie? Who has like that spice to them that makes you feel something fun? And when I first met Matilda, it was actually on Halloween, or right around Halloween, and it was on Halloween, and I met her and her brother, who also appears in the film, and she wore entirely clown makeup and stuff, and I was like, where is this a casting like pretense? Why? I had no idea who you were or how to assess that. So I was like, I don't think I'll go with her. And then you want to tell your side of that?
Yeah, it was Halloween, and we talked for like an hour during lunch. We got some bagels at my favorite like local bagel place. Yeah, I was in clown costume. When I first heard about Tyler, it was Clara, our mutual friend at a party, had asked me if I wanted to be in a Christmas movie, and I was like, And I was like, sure, I'll give you my email, whatever. And then we met up, and then we did some Zooms. I went in a lot of traffic to get to Long Island to do a audition at one point. We almost turned around when we were heading there because the traffic was so bad.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, no. Leo's mother, Jimena, was like, we're leaving.
Wow, that's really
we're
funny.
Turning around.
And in that audition, my partner, Alexandra Simpson, was there, and she, first and foremost, was struck by you. She was like, what that's what a film shoot is like.
Yes.
For me.
And Tyler, you as you mentioned, you work with cinematographer Carson Lund on this film, and you both are in a filmmaking collective, Omnus Films, together. Can you talk a bit about your collaboration with Carson for this film, and then also in general about your collaboration with the other directors in the collective?
Right. So first I want to give a shout out to Omnus Films. I know a few people are here, and it's not just actually the directors that we consider part of the collective. It's all together, we're 12 of us, and I suppose anyone could direct a movie, but we all contribute, really. And it first starts with having an idea, and there's just an understanding that happens. When one of us pitches an idea to the rest, we're just automatically on the same page. There isn't really a need to convince. There isn't really even gaps to explain oneself. And that's kind of really bleeds into the work I did with Carson, where I have to tell you, I didn't really say that much to him. We really didn't talk that much about it. Maybe we said a few things past going through the shots as a task, but to talk about the sort of context of the look of the film, it was simple. It was, oh, it's like Cirque, it's like Coca-Cola, something like this. And he just knew, that I think that's something I'm really grateful for, is that we don't really need to say that much. Honestly, it's really cool.
Yeah, there's some wonderful camera experimentation in the film. So none of that was written in. Was it sort of done on the fly, or did you guys plan that out?
So we don't really have budgets to do so much on the fly. A lot of it is prescripted, storyboarded and shot listed and so on, so sort of vigorously in a way. But the constraints that end up happening with time and trying to make the schedule, which I think we made the schedule a lot. I think we did a pretty good job. Was a lot of maybe 6 or 7 setup scenes became oneers. A lot of times it was just like, okay, how can we do in one shot? And that's where we started to collaborate a lot more on the fly, or in some points where we have the family unwrapping the gifts, or there's scenes where you might be able to tell that we probably would use a 2-camera setup, which meant I would not have any real control over each frame, but just trusting the team. So a little bit of improvisation, but yeah, a lot of it was thought out so long before the shoot. Yeah.
And Matilda, I'm curious if there was a process for getting familiar with your co-actors and becoming part of a family.
It was just really nice to be around all these other kids. And then I kind of met a lot of the people on the first day. Tyler showed me some videos of like the Greg, who played Aunt Bev. You showed me her audition tape and you were like, you're going to love her. It's going to be so great. And it's just like when you're working like that, a movie's really like a group effort. Everyone's looking towards the same thing. And when you're working with these people and everybody has to really be in it to actually create something that's meaningful, it just brings everyone together in a way that I don't think can happen in other circumstances.
So how did you create more of like a seamless flow within the home and visualizing and executing the togetherness of everyone?
I'm thinking back to the storyboarding process where I was thinking of great filmmakers like John Ford, and trying to create compositions of bodies in space that especially in his more like left-leaning films, like How Green Was My Valley or something like this, where the choral of bodies together is like it has an emotional like there's something special about seeing all of these busied frames of people. I think that's the one way I can think to answer that question. Other than that, I have to say when I do these things and make these choices, it's not so much at the forefront of my awareness of what I'm doing. I just go with what feels right, and usually a year or so later, it becomes a little more clear to me.